I'm very happy to be on, and oh my goodness, I was really looking forward to actually connecting with you. I was connecting with nature, and I was meditating, and just before I came on, and I thought I'll just get on before it gets really dark, and before I go and I head out for my walk. So I have a really interesting topic today, and I wanted to get straight into it. This is, always my talks are always improvised, and I don't know who's going to be coming on because I haven't given any pre-warnings to anyone, but that's okay. This group and the way that I show up as well, it's all kind of like a reflection as well of, the flow and the feminine kind of feel of grace. And I always make sure that I don't push myself and I don't force myself to be showing up or doing something or talking about something that doesn't actually that is not inspired from my heart. So I just want you to know that everything I bring forward is always inspired from my heart. So we're having a heart-to-heart right now. And the topic is it easier for you to respond to your needs or the needs of others around you? This is a really interesting question. And the reason why I pose this question is because I had a very interesting conversation today with an old friend of mine today. And unfortunately, she's under cure. She's healing herself from cancer, and she's using a Rife machine. I don't know if you know about the device, but Rife is a Scientologist that discovered very high frequencies. And he had a laboratory, and he worked on this project for years. And he came up with different frequencies that served different purposes, to either kill certain viruses, that helped with the collagen of your skin, that helped with chemical imbalances, that helped with inflammation. So there's a number of frequencies that Rife actually found a cure for through through sound therapy. Well, yeah, I guess it's through vibrations. Yeah, I guess it's kind of like a sound therapy. Yeah, sound therapy. But then his lab was put to fire, and he disappeared. I don't know if he got killed. But the governments, they found these machines, and they found his work, and they realized that if everybody was to use this machine, then the whole world would have cured themselves from cancer. And because they've discovered that cancer is actually a virus. It's a virus, and it's the same virus that causes many other sicknesses. So this machine can be, it's an engineer that ended up having what's the terminology, that had anyway, he just knew how to set up the Rife's machine and frequencies. And this lady, she goes to a congregation. She is a Jehovah's Witness, and an engineer that goes to this church. He's the one that actually advised it to her, because she had tried everything under the sun. She's spoken to many naturopaths, and nothing worked. So I just wanted to add this little side note. So she's currently using the Rife machine, which is like about the size. I think it's about $1,000, but it's working. It's working, and she has more energy. And some other person has used it. A lot of other people that have used it, they've actually found the results. And what it's doing is it's killing the virus gradually. So the only thing is that as it's breaking the virus down, you can have it on during the night as well, but you have to run to the toilet. So it's kind of like you've got a virus that you've got to flush it out of your system. So you're kind of like diarrhea, just to be specific, but you are literally like flushing everything out of your body. So seriously, knowing that, and there's a reason why I got into this conversation, it's like knowing that, when we know that we are in control of our health, and when it comes to being in control, I don't only just mean being in control of your health, but also being in control of yourself and your life, right? So when you have when you live with this feeling and sensation of like having control over your health and your life and the way things turn out, then you feel empowered, you feel strong, right? And it's that kind of force within you, it's that life force within your gut that helps you to keep going, that helps you to live in conviction, to love fiercely, to stand up for yourself, to stand up for truth, and all of that. So I wanted to bring forward, ladies, like I said, I don't know who's going to be coming on. But do put live if you do watch this live, or replay if you do watch the replay. I want to see who's actually following this, right? But we had a very interesting conversation. So firstly was about how she's finding, she's experimenting, healing this cancer with a Rife machine. And I found out about Rife. Do you know about Rife? I found out about Rife about a year and a half ago, because I used to listen to frequencies in the morning. And when I personally was going through, when I was healing from when I was not feeling well and I had a fever, I remember actually putting some tunes in, some vibrations, and I was in the state of sleep and awake. You know, when you're like really in between your awake state and your, you know, your deep sleep state. I literally felt like the cells of my body were like lifting, vibrating from my body. Hi, Yvonne. They were vibrating from my body, and I didn't feel the pain anymore. And then as soon as I woke up, I obviously, you know, I felt the pain. So there is such thing as sound therapy. There is such thing as color therapy. There is such thing as many therapies. And, you know, for the people that seek, they will find there's always resources out there that can help us solve a problem. Okay. There's always solutions to what it is that we are, you know, looking to heal, to adjust. You know, it's just a matter of how much we believe it is possible. It's actually the story that we tell ourselves. So this brings me back to the topic, right? I was just sharing, Yvonne, about the Rife frequencies. So is it easier for you to respond to your needs? So it really does come down to listening to your body, and are you really listening to your body and to the needs of your body? Because when you listen to what your body is needing, it's kind of like a child, right? If a child comes up to you and says, "Mommy, mommy, I'm really thirsty. I'm really thirsty." What are you going to do? You leave it there to like die of thirst? Of course you're going to be assisting it, you know. Or the same thing, if he comes saying that he's dying of hunger, what are you going to do? You're going to leave a child starve on the pavement on his own? Of course you're going to attend to him. I mean, I'd like to think that's what I would do instinctively, right? And I'm sure that, you know, that is natural to do that. So see yourself, I just want to invite you for a minute to pose yourself this question: how do you respond to your needs? Do you know what it feels like to respond to your needs? Or do you jump and respond? Is it easier for you to respond to the needs of others? This is a very interesting question. I had a conversation with this friend of mine, and we have something in common. So we both grew up with our fathers that were not, even now as an adult, like with my father, and I'm just saying as things are, you know, he says, if I do have some level of confidence, right, within myself, because I feel that I've given the time to heal, to work through things. It doesn't mean that I'm perfect, and it doesn't mean that, you know, I don't have moments of insecurities and things. Of course I do, right? We all do. But I remember, you know, as an adult, my dad would say to me, Vanessa, you know, it's like as if it kind of bothered him that I had this level of confidence in certain things about myself. So, which brings me back to the, you know, the conversation that I brought up about what me and this lady had in common is that we grew up with fathers that weren't really present. So she grew up in a household where her father was an alcoholic, so he wasn't really present, even though he was there. So there was never like, her needs weren't met. There was no attendance with her needs, right? And the same with me, because when I was a child, my parents divorced when I was 3, but he was never really around. And he's like a drama queen, right? He's like full of drama. And even now, he's on a spiritual path now, but he's actually doing, you know, he's on his path. But what I find is, hi, Teresa. Thank you for logging on, and I'm very happy to have you both on. Thank you. So I was saying about, I remember particularly with my father when I was younger, my needs weren't really met because he was never there. I remember, and he told me this as well, he said that he would leave me crying in the cot for hours. And I'll be like, he would tell me this as an adult, and I would say to him, how could you leave a child scream their lungs out for hours? And that I read about what effect it has actually for a child to cry, or when you leave a child crying for so long. and it actually affects their nervous system. It affects their nervous system. So it affects everything you live through when you're a child. Your body's absorbing it. You are. I don't want to say you're being programmed, but it sounds awful, but we kind of are in a way, because we become a sponge to our environment. So, my needs in that sense weren't really met either. And what that causes, so what I'm inviting here to ponder on, and the conversation that I'm opening up with you right now, ladies, is we are given, we are shown by our parents what the world is about. And we think that that is the universe, right? Because our parents are our universe when we grow up. But then, what happened in my instance and in the instance of this friend of mine is that as we grow up and grow older, we form other different beliefs. Hi, Therese Rose. Good to see you. We form our own beliefs, right? We form our own beliefs, and we form our own beliefs, and we start to see and believe that a lot of things are real bull BS, right? And that's when you start to stand your ground. So that's what happened with puberty with me, and with my friend as well. So just sharing something that we had in common is that we never really got our needs met from our parents. So my mum was working and she was getting over her own traumas, and my father was just never available. And like I said, he would leave me crying for hours in the car, which is terrible. But that just shows it makes sense. So when I reached puberty, when I became a teenager, what happened was that my nervous system obviously went just off the charts, and all that anger. I was asserting. I was trying to assert my truth. I wanted to be heard, but not having the skill set of communication, of knowing how to communicate. It came out as a burst, which affected the nervous system even more. So one thing that has come up when you don't respond to your needs because you don't know how to respond to your needs because your needs weren't met when you were younger, what happens is that you are assisting. You are very good at assisting other people's needs. And when I say you are very good at assisting other people's needs, it's that feeling that you get when you just, when somebody needs something and you just jump, right? And I'm not saying that, I don't want it to come out the wrong way, but obviously living in service and helping others, or is wonderful. It's great, and it's beautiful to live in kindness and to live from your heart. But what I'm talking, the conversation here is about responding to your needs. And what I saw is that she's ill now. She's finding a virus, right? It's not really cancer. They say that it is a virus. It comes from a virus. Like I was saying before, it's a virus that causes many other illnesses. But we've always, for a number of years, we've always tried to fill that void, right? Of anesthetizing, our own pain and our own needs that weren't met. So we didn't actually know how to meet our own needs. So therefore, we were always open to meeting other people's else's needs. We were pro at that. We were so good. Viruses cause cancer. Yes, Therese Rose. Thank you for reiterating that. Absolutely. And this is something that I don't know if you want to watch the video from the beginning, Therese, but I was sharing a story about my friend and how she was introduced to the Rife frequencies, and she's using that now. I was introduced to Rife, and I did a lot of research on that when I came back from Italy. So it was about a year and a half ago. And she's using it now. Self-love and self-care is so important. It so is, Therese. And, the reason why I'm bringing this conversation is because I think that self-love and self-care is so it's underestimated, it's overheard, and it's so underestimated. I look at this this beautiful friend of mine. She's in the Gold Coast now, and she's the one that has, she's recovering from cancer or healing from cancer. She never knew how to get her needs met, and she was always trying to save other people. Same with me. I was always trying to save people, save, your family, your brother, everyone around you. And what that is doing is actually, it's kind of like you're self-medicating your own pain when we assist others. So I was thinking for a long time that I was taking fabulous care of myself because, I don't know, because what was I doing back then? I don't know, like, I'm just trying to think. I've just changed so much. So I've grown so much. So the self-love and self-care that I believe is now is not the same as before. Has it changed? Has the meaning of self-love and the practice of self-love and self-care, has it changed meaning for you, Therese? It's really interesting actually to self-reflect on this. The more I have breakthroughs, right, and the more, I kind of work through my own, because inner healing it's a never-ending journey for us, right? I find that I'm always discovering deeper layers, and I always find that part of my soul that just is craving for, that just wants more love, right? That, these parts of myself where I just need to be loving myself more. And that's the moment when that voice creeps up, right? It's the moment that your body's asking you, which is your needs, really. It's actually yourself, your body saying that your needs need to be met. So it's within that silence that your body's asking you to love, to self-care, and to, yes, continued growth. Absolutely, Therese. And it's within that moment of silence that I have all these voices that come up, and they want to, it's kind of like dragging me out of that comfort, really, because that's what it is. It's comfort, isn't it? When you're taking care of yourself. I love it. It's such a good feeling, right? It's like even just doing like a number of things all at once, or giving a whole day to yourself if you can. It's so beautiful, but it's so natural to have those feelings of like guilt that come up. So this is the conversation that we shared with this lady that we had in common, is that we never had our needs met from our fathers. And I believe that as women, in order to be able to assert your confidence, to know who you are and to stand tall in the world, the way that the relationship that we build with our parents, with our fathers, really shapes us. And I fell ill when I was 25, really young. So that was a way for my body to communicate to me that, that I wasn't meeting my own needs. And so, yeah, it's definitely been easier for me to meet the needs of others as opposed to my own. But then it's also been like, I always come kind of in and out of it. It's been, when you're programmed in a certain way, you do it so naturally to assist others. But then I found myself needing to pull back and say, hang on. So this is what I do now, and I'll share it with you briefly. Okay, ladies? So because I'm, my soul has, I've really allowed myself to go deep within my soul, right? With my inner healing, it's really cracked really deeply. And writing therapy, dance and things like this, counseling, all of this has actually helped to connect to the deeper part of myself. So what happens is that what is happening now is that when I find myself not knowing what to do with myself, that's when I realize that my body's trying to say something to me, that I'm needing to come. It's kind of like having a baby in your arms and like needing to, and just cradling the baby. So I've learned that that's the moment in which I need to cradle myself more. Not necessarily doing a heck of a lot of things or spending a lot of money, but it's just tuning in. It's like just literally just tuning in. And so it's really compensating for what hasn't been, met. So I see it as that. I just see self-care as that moment when you feel like you don't know what to do with yourself, and you just kind of allow yourself to be in that moment of silence, and you start to cradle yourself like a baby, right? And you look at yourself, and you sit with yourself, and you try to understand what it is that what you're needing, whether it's food or whether it's like, what is it? What's this desire? Because if we are living consistently needing to meet other people's needs, that's a complete distraction. That's actually a technique that we've actually adopted to self-medicate. Please, people pleasing, that's self-medicating. Just as drugs, alcohol, cigarettes, and action, anything like that. There's no judgment here, but it's a beautiful indicator when, that's a space where, it's an indicator that we're not listening. So it's in those moments that I have amazing breakthroughs, and it's in those moments where I just kind of like the way, if I have to like depict it, if I have to put a graphic to it, it's kind of like I just see myself letting go. I just go like chest forward, open heart, and I'm just like literally dropping myself into the water or into like a bathtub or into a sauna or something. And I completely let myself go and let the waves and the water take me. So I surrender to what my body wants from me. And it's a difficult concept to grasp, I think, if we're so used to using our minds. I don't know if you agree, but because, a lot of people, a lot of women, we naturally, you want to, when I was more in my head, I would want to try to understand things from my mind. But that's the moment when you're like, hang on a minute, like I know my heart's, my body's trying to communicate something to me. And it's those moments of silence that I feel. Sometimes it comes up, I just catch it, right? But it's in those moments of silence, actually. This is a really important thing that I'm about to share with you. That's when the discomfort came. And sometimes it comes up when I speak to my really good mates of mine, like male friends. It's kind of like, it's that awkward moment of silence where, it just feels awkward. But in that silence, that's actually when you're really tuning into yourself, and when the other person is really like connecting with you, like it's within that silence that connection happens, that intimacy happens, intimacy in the sense of like, well, if you want to look at intimacy with a love partner, then yeah, you can say that. But intimacy also with, we're having an intimate moment. I see it as an intimate moment. People have different perceptions of it. But intimacy for me is really like connection, right? And it's in the moments of silence. If you're able, why don't you try and see whether you are able to, how you feel when you're speaking to someone. There's like a bit of silence. Are you the kind of person that needs to fill up that silence with like words or with a joke or with a laugh? Or are you just are you comfortable kind of resting into that moment of silence? Reese, so true what you're saying. I love your necklace. Oh my God, thank you so much. Breakthroughs are amazing. I want them every day. Me too. I'm like, give me another breakthrough. I want to write some more. Do you know that I have the most amazing moments of like, someone shared this, it's ending on the, sorry, I just have to put this down. Oh, okay. Someone shared this, sending on the healing because all need it. Thank you. Let nothing consume your mind. It's yours to control. Thank you so much. Of course. Okay. Thank you so much. Should I read it now? Do you want me to read it out loud? Therese, let me know and I will. Otherwise, everybody can just tune into it. The necklace, oh, sorry, just back to what you said. Absolutely, let not the mind take control of you. And there's always a solution for everything. It's just a matter of tuning into our hearts and believing that, taking control of ourselves, and and allowing our heart to lead. I was sharing the conversation, this connection that I had with an old friend of mine, and she's I was just sharing, that story, and how it all comes down to, I think, honestly, just how able we are, I guess, to meet our own needs, right? Because that's really what self-love and care is. But yeah, talking back to the necklace, Therese, thank you for the compliment. This is a rose quartz crystal. This is so beautiful and so special to me. I got this I went to Colombia when I finished university. I was on my healing journey there. That's the time when I was meeting incredible astrologists, like women. I was tracking in like little villages and mountains and meeting the most beautiful spiritual people I've ever met in my life. And we had the most amazing conversations. I learned about the Mayans and the Mayan calendar. And it was a surreal, thinking back, it was literally surreal. And I remember going to the markets with a friend of mine, and I used to make jewelry. So I used to spend hours in this jewelry shop with this lady called Maria, and it was a family run business. And she used to make jewelry with her hands. And I learned how to what is it called, embroidery. Anyway, I learned how to make jewelry with my hands, and they use all natural resources. They use like watermelon seeds and they paint them, orange seeds, all sorts of things. And I learned so much there. And yeah, I used to go to the markets and I used to buy lots of beads. They use a lot of natural beads of all different shapes and sizes. And I remember walking into this crystal shop and I just fell in love, and I felt, oh my God, such a pull towards this particular one. And it's actually from Brazil, and it's not painted. That's actually the real color of the quartz. So special. And interestingly enough, like I had this hidden for so long. I realized I had it in like a beauty case that I had in my cabinet in my bathroom. And I've had it there for years. I wore this when I was in Italy. I remember giving it to my auntie. She went through a heartbreak, and I let her use this just to activate her heart and to heal her. And then I just got it back for myself because I was so in love with it. And I just never wore it. I think it's because it. Do you know how some things just kind of bring you back? It's kind of like saudade. It's a Brazilian, it's a Portuguese word. I felt nostalgia of the times when I was in Colombia and, you know, on that path. And it was really a time when I was fully devoted to my own growth and connecting with my heart and myself. So yeah, and I'm wearing it again, Therese. So it's very special for me to be wearing this right now. It's kind of like another part. It's kind of like I'm allowing another part of my heart to be open. It's kind of like I'm opening another part of my heart. That's how it feels. And I think this activation actually happened. I'm happy to share this, Therese, ladies, when I went to visit the marae. And I've done a lot of writing behind the scenes about what's been coming up for me as I attended the marae, which is the Indigenous home of Maoris here in New Zealand. It's very special, very high frequency, very high vibrations over there. And I literally felt like something was activated within me that brought me back home, deeper into my heart. So, and that's all to do with the mother energy. It's all to do with the feminine frequency, the feminine energy, and the feminine field that Kay Ehrlich really talks a lot about. So just been ranting on now, but the talk today, I just wanted to bring it forward. Are you responding to your needs, or is it most likely that you ignore your own personal needs and you respond to others' needs? So please tune in. Thank you so much, Rose, for sharing this beautiful healing. I'm going to be reading it now in my own time, and I'll let the ladies. Oh, you are here. You did respond. So making jewelry is so therapeutic. So many tools to keep us healed throughout our journey. We just have to tap in and be consistent. Absolutely, Therese. Thank you so much for sharing that. Exactly. It's so true. There's so much available to us, and it really has to do with resources. It's really dark here now, so I'll be ending the video soon, but you're so right. And this is another thing that there's so many resources. I mean, you know, just talking about my friend, how she met this engineer that recommended, just declining the call, that recommended this Rife machine that he put together with a group of people. And she's on it now, and it's really working miracles. So these resources are all around us. It's just a matter of how willing we are to really tune into ourselves and our heart. And sometimes we need the help. Like, honestly, there were times where I tune in and I write down. I've got quotes on my mirror everywhere in my room, and I write down sometimes the things I really want to focus on, that I know that I'm called to focus on. And sometimes it's really just about asking for help or asking for support or just having more fun or just, you know, dressing up, putting makeup on and just allowing yourself to just embody your feminine side in that way. I know there's a lot of other ways to do it. And, you know, I'm speaking really fast today. I think it's just because I'm excited. I spent a bit of time meditating outside, but just being in our hearts and listening to what our heart is really telling us, because everything is available to us. And if you're running out, rescuing people, you're not listening to your own needs and you are robbing people away. You're robbing them from their own experience. Because like I was saying before, when I have breakthroughs, Therese, you know, and ladies, like when I have the breakthroughs, that's the moment where my heart is so cracked or my soul feels really cracked. And but there's such a beautiful rebirth from that. I write the most amazing and beautiful poems and inspirational like writings that just come through me, and it's literally a vibration. It's not even just writing, it's literally a vibration that's been channeled through. So there's magic in everything. There's magic in the dark moments. There's magic in every moment. It's just a matter of how willing we are to embrace all of it. That's all part of meeting our needs and loving ourselves. So that's what I wanted to share. And thank you so much, Therese. You're a beautiful, beautiful woman. Thank you for showing up and thank you for sharing your wisdom and your love with us. I love that you do. And I love the support that you bring. Remember, it's all about coming together and supporting us in the best way that we can, and sharing what we know, what's helped us, what's worked for us, and sharing that with others. Not to say, you know, this is the only way. We're really just sharing. It's a way of sharing our love and our care. And then you tune into your own intuition. You know what you need, right? This is all about developing and listening to your own inner guidance, right? So I'm going to send you so much love before it becomes pitch black here. And I'm going out actually for my walk now as well. So sending so much love, and I will see you again very soon, okay? I'll be sharing more. I know, as you've seen by now, I'm always like improvising, but there'll be more coming. The dark moments are my favorite. Oh my God, you know what, Therese? I never thought I would say that, but I hear you, girl. I really, really hear you. It's beautiful. It's like, it's just, yeah, it's just that moment where we just go really deep, and it's that space where, not that nothing matters, but it's like, I find if I can express it, right, like my way of expressing it is like, I'm the center of my own universe. That's how I feel. It's like that moment where I'm really embodying it full of myself. So thank you for sharing your wisdom. Sending you so much love, and I'll see you again very soon, okay? Ciao. Bye.